Great pal Steve Forbes, Forbes Media chairman, editor-in-chief, and author of the terrific book on inflation. Steve, welcome back, as always. I just wanted to, sometimes you have guests on the show, particularly political lawmaker-type guests. You're never quite sure what they're going to say. I was so happily, I don't know about surprised, but listening to what Mike Crapo said. Used to run the banking committee, went to Brigham Young and Harvard Law School. He's a longtime Republican veteran. What he said, I thought, said it exactly right. It's the stuff you and me and Laffer and Moore and a lot of other people, Hassett, have been talking about. I mean, this is the clearest thing I've heard yet.
Well, that's the thing. The only way we're going to get out of the ditch we're in today is by prosperity. Anyone who knows a balance sheet. Liabilities become less of a problem. The asset side is growing. That's what happened in the 1980s, and it can happen again. Unfortunately, this administration is going in the opposite direction. Powell says he wants to fight inflation. What brought inflation to an end in the early 80s was not the recession, but one Volcker, after the Fed chairman at the time, after that crunching recession, had relatively stabilized the dollar, but we had tax cuts, deregulation that kicked in, America boomed, the world followed our example, the world had a boom. With stability. What's not to like?
Well, okay, on that point, twice in the conversation I had with Senator Crapo, twice he said the Trump tax cuts must be extended.
And that's just the beginning.
And yes, and I would say, to be fair, Jason Smith, the new Ways and Means chairman of the House, also said that we can build on the Trump tax cuts. So maybe there's a Forbes flat tax out there, or directionally out there. But I mean, that's the first guy. Everyone's talking about cutting spending, and we have to cut spending. Government is just too big. Phil Graham's op-ed piece today, the Wall Street Journal, lays it out very nicely. All this emergency COVID stuff has just run wild and really created big government socialism. But you cut taxes, okay? You not only incentivize work and investment and so forth, entrepreneurship, but Steve, if you cut taxes, you reduce the power of government and you increase the freedom to people in the economy. And I just regard that as a very important point.
Well, it's very basic. Government is supposed to serve, do they understand that word? The people, rather than dominate the people. And I think Calvin Coolidge put it well back in the 1920s, where he said, when government taxes less, that means more freedom for you.
Right.
And that
exactly
goes to our founding.
Let us keep the money we earn.
Well, we create it, and we'll create more if you let us. That's the wonderful thing. The American people come to the rescue of the government. The government just took a vacation. We'll pay for their vacation wherever they want to go. Just leave the economy alone for a couple of years, and by golly, they'll look like geniuses.
Right. Just sit there and do nothing. Let me take, what's your quick take on McCarthy and Biden? What was going through your head on that meeting?
I hope Speaker McCarthy's putting together a real blockbuster agenda. For example, $369 billion in this so-called anti-inflation bill for green stuff. Well, sit down with Biden and say, we want reassurances. You're not going to use child labor to get the cobalt. We want reassurances that what are you going to do with 900 tons of unrecyclable plastics in each of those farms you want to do? It's 20 years out, but we're stewards of the economy. What are you going to do to get rid of that? Battery recycling and things like that. Get to some specifics and have them lay out in terms of the government said hundreds of billions of dollars were wasted during that COVID relief stuff. Well, have the Labor Department each month give a report to Speaker McCarthy in Congress. What is being done to recover that money? Right. And things like that. Have a list and say, we'll extend the debt for 6 months if you go along with this program, but then we want to see the progress report. And if you're not making progress on the recovering these monies and getting reassurances on these so-called green things. Another thing on the green thing is those who want to be part of this cronyism should be asked and required, what political contributions did you make?
Oh, Lord.
And how the government certify that the contributions had nothing to do with them getting that contract. I guarantee you that would be very revelatory. And so those things, and say after 6 months, if we're satisfied with the progress you're making, we'll renew the debt ceiling for another 6 months. Hold their feet to the fire. This is a great opportunity.
So you think what Kevin McCarthy said was a 2-year plan. I think some of his people I've talked to today, a 2-year spending cap plan in return for the higher debt. You're saying that's too long, and
Too
that
long.
they have should
And
keep them on a shorter,
what you
shorter
put,
leash.
Yeah, and put on the table, for example, opening up federal lands. Don't make the mistake Germany and Britain made, making them more dependent on Russia. So open up federal lands. Just don't say, but each month give us a progress report. What are you doing in infrastructure on pipelines? What are you doing in infrastructure in terms of refineries? And making those leases real so you can get the stuff, do the drilling, and get the stuff out. Progress reports each month. Hold their feet to the fire. If not, and people understand that. You made promises, now we're going to make you keep those promises. And if you don't, we know what's going to happen.
You know, on that point, the Willow oil and gas development in Alaska is up for grabs. Part of the Biden administration says, go ahead, we won't give you everything you wanted, but we'll give you partial drilling rights, fracking rights. But the Interior Department, once again, Ms. Deb Haaland, she issued a statement, no, we're worrying about climate, and we're worrying about this and that, and there may not be permits. I mean, it's a perfect example where they have a test case. Either they're going to let us produce more or they're not. And the government looks like it's divided. It's a very weird story. Steve, let me just get you a quick take. Yesterday, stocks did very well, even though, at least I thought Jay Powell was pretty hawkish. He said, we're going to raise rates several more times, and we're going to be tough. And that quote I used in the opening riff, he'd rather overshoot on higher interest rates than undershoot. He's not worried about a recession. Now, stocks all clapped and rose. What do you think of that?
They don't believe him. That's the bottom line.
Oh, come on. Really? It's what he said.
Yeah, well, he said a lot of things in the past. It was transitory and all that kind of. They believe the Fed will wilt under the political pressure when you get an actual downturn. Europe is looking decent, semi-decent by their standards now. What if they get a downturn? So all of this happy talk right now is not taking into account you've got some real headwinds. Business investment, consumer buying is not there.
Productivity numbers today were terrible, the worst since
savings
the
are going
mid-'70s.
down and things like that. So we got some rough waters ahead. And I don't think the markets have quite grasped that, or they may think the Fed can pull the economy like the rabbit out of the hat. And unfortunately, I'm afraid the Fed, I think Powell may be serious. They really think that trashing the economy, making people poor is the way you fight inflation. We should have learned in the past. You stabilize the dollar, and the inflation will take care of itself. It will wring itself out. If you don't keep depreciating the dollar, having gone up and down like a yo-yo, like it does now, how can you plan for the future if this thing is going over zigzagging all over the place? You can't.
And just one last quick one. Akil is killing me here, but I just want to get your take. Senator Kennedy, John Kennedy, yesterday said, if Congress would spend less, then the Fed would do less. It's a very interesting point because it was Congress that put the pressure on the Fed in 2021 with all this $2 trillion of
for a while, the
stimulus.
Fed was doing 80–90% of the financing of the debt. And so if you're not spending, you don't have deficits, there's less pressure on the Fed to monetize it by buying the debt.
It was a good point by Kennedy, I think. It's a good relationship between the two.
So those who say spending doesn't cause inflation, not directly, but how do you finance the government debt? Well, the Fed buys those bonds. What happens? We know what happens.
No, Kennedy's a smart guy. Crapo's a smart guy. We had two good hitters last night. It's very interesting, and I thought their points were so important. They're worth repeating every now and then. Steve Forbes,
prosperity, good.
The best of the best. Please read his book on inflation, and then you understand or begin to understand what the hell's going wrong.